This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello, everybody. You know what should help? If I turn on my microphone. How about that? How's everybody doing? My name is Dan Z. Thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you on CWK Live. Let's say hello to everybody who is with us tonight. Of course, we've got Binta. This is the way. It's CWK Day. Getting some stuff ready for later in the show, as you will see. We've got Jason. Hello, Jason. Welcome back. Jason is a Michigan fan, it seems, based on his Facebook picture there. Mary, happy Monday to you. Mason is here, of course. Hello, Mason Z. What's up, Terry King? Terry's going to be on the CWK Alliance Spotlight Show this week, so we're excited to have him on later. Blake is here. Hey, my CWK homies. What's up, buddy? Anthony is here and finished with grad school for the semester. Congratulations, Anthony. Welcome to the show. Santa Yoda. That's right. Santa Yoda is here, just like right back here. The Ralph McQuarrie designed Lucasfilm Christmas card. The first one, I believe, that was ever done by Lucasfilm. I grabbed the shirt, I think, at Target a couple of years ago. And, of course, that great figure that Sideshow made a couple of years ago as well. Daniel is here. Well, this is great. Hello, Daniel. What is up? Hello, Ross. Jason likes the shirt as well. Thanks, man. This is cool. I'm probably going to wear this at school later this week, but had to get it ready because we got to do some Christmas stuff. Hello, because, you know, it's CWK Day. Well, wait, isn't every day CWK Day? At least that's how I like to think of things, because that means I get to chat with all of you about Star Wars. And tonight, when we're talking about Star Wars, we're going to talk about a couple of things. First, we're going to talk about, well, not first, but our main thing for the show tonight is top 5 moments from Star Wars Vision's Akakiri. We've got Star Wars trivia and some prizes as well. So that is great, great fun. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. All right, so what is brewing in Star Wars this week? Whoa, what happened there? What is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week? Well, I'm glad that you asked, friends. Oh, why is it doing that to me? Can you guys hear me? It seems like my stuff froze up on me. I'm not really sure why that is. Okay, not now. Well, strange. What a strange situation that was. Well, now you can see the pretty background, of course. Blake says, my wife is an Ohio State fan, so I root for Michigan to annoy her. Nice. You guys can hear me. Good. I don't know what happened. The video kind of froze out, so I'll just go to my main feed for now. I'll just fix that after the show. But no big deal. What's brewing in the world of Star Wars is really, I was just going to talk about the fact that the podcast meetup was changed, but we talked about that last week. But if you were planning on going to Disneyland After Dark, myself, Tom Gross, and Corey Clubb will be there on May 27th in Anaheim. But that was originally the podcast meetup date. We have switched that around because we don't want to conflict with people who are planning on going to Disneyland, naturally. Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, as they say, next to Walt Disney World, of course. So the podcast meetup is now going to be the 26th at the same place at the Hilton Anaheim across from the Convention Center. Blake says, Dan stepped into World Between Worlds for a second. Yes, I did. How did you know? Colby says, hi, everyone. Just finished pour over and my face hurts. Yes, speaking of pour over, you gotta listen to this. I mean, now I grant you it is part of our Patreon page exclusives, but I tell you what, this was a really fun one. Myself, Tom Gross, and Corey Clubb talked about our top 5 favorite Christmas cookies. And I put out a warning on social media. Don't listen to this or watch it if you are a contributor at a certain level of our Patreon page. Don't listen to this while you are eating or drinking something, because I don't think it would be safe. I really don't. But to become a member of the CWK Alliance, you can go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance and become a Patreon member, which means you become a member of the CWK Alliance. You get access to CWK Prover, the audio and the video podcast, depending on what level you get. So you help support me in the show, but I believe very much in giving back. So you get that exclusive audio and or video podcast too. Anthony is looking forward to the podcast meetup. I'm looking forward to it too, Anthony. I think it's going to be great. Kobe says, go the extra few bucks and get the video. So worth it. Yeah, this week we made Corey laugh so hard that he actually legitimately fell out of his chair. So that was pretty funny, I gotta say. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our top 5. Our top 5 tonight, the last Star Wars Visions episode from Season 1. We actually made it through all of them. I feel like we've done really great deep dives into all of these episodes of Star Wars Visions. I know many of you here are huge anime fans, and I think that's great. And oh my gosh, this is show 479. That means we're just 21 episodes away from the 500th episode of Coffee with Kenobi. I'm going to have to do something special for that. Let's think about that. All right, so we've got, again, top 5 moments from the Star Wars Visions episode Akakiri. And that is going to be how we're going to roll things out right now. So get your lists, your pencils, and scorecards ready. And let's go ahead and jump into our top 5. So this episode overall, I want to say, it is not my favorite episode. I used to say Toby 1 was my least favorite. This one might be up there, but that doesn't mean there aren't some things in it that aren't worthwhile or that I enjoy, because there are some things that are really quite captivating, interesting. The storytelling, as always, is great. Yeah, it seems like I'm glowing over one of my shoulders because I've added more Christmas lights, because that's, in fact, I told Mrs. Air yesterday, I like these Christmas lights so much, I might just leave them up year round and just turn them on occasionally. And she's like, okay, which is really the only answer to a question like that for me. Daniel says, I really enjoyed watching this again. I honestly forgot a lot about it. Well, I'm glad, Daniel. That's one of the things that I hope people will be able to dive back in and enjoy these things for what they actually are. So that's good. I'm really glad to hear that. Let's go ahead and just do our top 5s and see what happens. All right, number 5 for me. Whoops, that's number 4. Oh, pretend you didn't see that, everybody. The top 5 for me is Kamahachi and Senshu. I believe I'm pronouncing those correctly. My apologies if I'm not. They are the sort of the comedic relief in this episode, and they're funny, they're wise, they're loyal. They're very much like something from Kurosawa, and I just appreciate the levity that they bring into things. I didn't get to finish my thought, but this episode is tough for me because it's very dark, and at the end I don't feel uplifted at all, and you're not supposed to necessarily. But Star Wars is about hope. Hopefully there is more to this story, because as it stands now, this was extremely depressing. And gosh, I hope we get to see some resolution for the characters. So we've got Tsubaki, which is spelled Tsubaki. Tsubaki is the Jedi in this one. We've got Princess Misa. We've got Kamahachi and Senshu. And then Mazago is the Sith Lord. She is the Sith Lord in this episode. A very creepy villain, but very effective as well. All right, so that was my number 5. All right, let's see what everybody else has here. Number 5 for Anthony. I love the look of the lightsabers in the episode. True to form, they look almost exactly like samurai swords. Agreed. It's perfect for the anime style and the source material for that Star Wars draws upon. Yes. Very good, Anthony. Thank you so much. Mason and I did tie again. We rewatched this again right before tonight. Almost like it's almost like I slid down the bat pole, ran to the CWK studios, and here we are. Minta's number 5, the style and music of the show. If anyone watched Samurai Jack in the early 2000s, it kind of gave me that vibe. Minta, that's an interesting comparison. And I see that as well. I don't remember if Samurai Jack has this, so Minta or someone can help me with this. But one of the challenges to me of this episode is that sometimes it just kind of stops. Like there are big gaps in narrative where you just kind of have to make the connections yourself. Suddenly you think they're going from point A to point B, and often they're in the point F or point G, and you're like, wait, how did they get there? What happened? That's just part of the style of storytelling, and I think that's great. That doesn't always work very well for me, but it's not about me. This is just my particular preference on that. But that might be part of anime that maybe I'm just not aware of as well. Main is number 5, The Battle with the Sith and Masago. Yeah, we're quite a quick, intense one. Terry, number 5, the 3D hologram the guide uses the checkpoints showed a picture similar to the Death Star. And Terry, the first time I watched this, I don't know what I was doing or not doing, but I didn't notice it. And this time I really did. I thought that was a cool little kind of an Easter egg. Ross is number 5, seeing a B-Wing start the episode. Yes, we don't see that very much, do we? Jason's number 5, the music sometimes captivating, sometimes a bit odd, but all of it was well done. Very true. Number 5 for Blake. This was my least favorite also, but my number 5, even though it's a cheap pick, I've used for so many episodes is the animation. It was also different, and this was one done in a very unique way. And I don't think that's cheap at all, Blake. I think that's valid because they all have very different narrative styles that stand on their own in very different ways. So I think that's cool. I'm glad that you said that. I think that's a good one. Daniel, Masago and Subaka's interaction, the whole Destiny theme played out well. Sad, but some endings are. It's true. It's very well said. Again, Mason's number 5 is the same as mine. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into number 4. Number 4 for me, I accidentally put up earlier. But music, I think the music really, in this entire series, the music is just a standout, as is often the case in Star Wars, naturally. But for the music here, the continual pounding of the drum beat is melodic and sometimes peaceful, but also continually building on, I think, a form of anxiety that we feel for Tsubaki, the main character, and it doesn't let up. And at the end, the music gets even more harsh and frightening and intimidating, and that's very, very powerful storytelling. In fact, the music does a lot of the heavy lifting of the narrative, which I think is pretty cool. So very unique, total props there. All right, number 4 for Anthony. The comedic bits from Senshu and Kamahachi were excellent. It really helps to liven up the pacing and the dark tone of the episode, which makes it flow so smoothly. Yes, definitely. That was my number 5. Your number 4. I like that. Minta, similarly, as that for number 4, the comic relief of Kamachi and Senshu. Number 4 for Terry. A Jedi returns to protect his forbidden love. The storyline shows why Jedi aren't supposed to form attachments, which can be used against them. The Jedi was boxing with his choices, how to defeat the Shogun. And Mason and I talked a lot about how this was so reminiscent of Anakin and the Emperor to a degree. In fact, when they show Tsubaki flashing back to talking with his master, he's only credited as master. That master looked like Palpatine, but that master seemed to be good, whereas Masago clearly is not good. Number 4 for Mary, the force healing and promise of a loved one being brought back from death is used to coerce the Jedi to cross over to the dark side. Again, shades of episode 6 and also episode 9, really. Daniel's number 4, the Enfys Nest inspired looking guards, really neat uniforms and face shields. Enfys Nest, that was a good connection, Daniel. I hadn't thought about that. That's very good. Jason's number 4, drawing a lightsaber out of a scabbard like a sword, so cool, and it just doesn't get old to see it. No, it does not. It does not get old. That is a great connection. Number 4 for Blake. This was the most Japanese-inspired of all the Visions episodes, I feel. It was heavily influenced by Akira Kurosawa's film The Hidden Fortress. Yes, it was. Yes, it certainly was. Very cool. Number 4 for Ross, the use of a color theme for specific aspects, red at the end for the Sith. White when Tsubaki is talking to his master. Blue and young Tsubaki talks with young Princess Misa. Yes, color is important. Whenever you see that, the curtain, as my wife teases me, sometimes the curtains are just yellow. Well, not in this episode. They aren't. Not in this episode. That is the blessing and the curse of being an English teacher, right? Good. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into number 3. Again, Mason and I tied for all of ours, so we're in good shape. Number 3, I put the water scene. This looked really random. I don't know if anybody's going to have it, but there are certain moments when they're traveling. I think it's either right before or right after that scene where all 4 of them appear to be on some sort of an ostrich or something. But there's a sequence where they're on this boat, and the water is really beautiful and tranquil, and the animation looks to be kicked up another notch there. The skyline is gorgeous. The water is soothing as they're kind of rolling across, but there's something very spectacular and serene about that water scene. Again, it's probably like 2-3 seconds long. But I even said to Mason, that's gorgeous. Look at that. That's great. So I like this so much. It's a number 3. It would be a great image to hang up in a studio or an office or on your wall, or who knows. I just think it's really nice. All right, let's see what other people have for their number 3. Terry's number 3, the visions of the Jedi, they appear to be warning him, but instead he continued with what he wanted to do. Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, Terry. That's an important thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Number 3 for Anthony. To me, the score for this episode of Visions is the most unique. As a drummer myself, the fact that it's primarily percussion-based yet so elegant blows my mind. I would love a vinyl release of all these episodes, but particularly from Akakiri. I would too. That would be great. Mary loved the 2 guides, Kamahachi and Senshu. Yeah, I like them as well, definitely. Number 3 for Minta, the subtle relationship between Misa and Tsubaki. They care deeply for each other. It was never meant to be like Anakin and Padme. That's true. Blake, the voice cast, Mr. Sulu himself, George Sakai, was a voice in this episode. It was all wonderfully done. Yeah, he was great. Number 3 for Jason, Tsubaki and Misago's quick draws of their lightsabers. Oh, good catch. Number 3 for Daniel, the guide's not even attempting the spelling. Well, my spelling up there, I promise, is correct because I got it from StarWars.com, so we can trust that one. The guides were great and loved their voices and outfits. Yeah, they were neat. Ross, music and equally important, lack of music. There are many points that build tension by hearing nothing or only hearing breathing, raining, or who's walking. Yes, there's a lot of power in silence. Silence isn't great in a podcast, but when you're creating a story and building intention and narrative, it's very effective. So yes, very good. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2 for me is Henry Golding. He is the actor, the American, or at least I shouldn't say American, but the English dub version of this. He plays Tsubaki. I love Henry Golding. I loved him in Crazy Rich Asians. I loved him in Last Christmas. I absolutely love him in Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe movie that hardly anybody went to theaters to see, but you got to see it. Snake Eyes is awesome, but this isn't a G.I. Joe podcast, so I'll pause there and just say Henry Golding's performance is very powerful and understated, and he brings like a unique accent to it, and I absolutely loved it. Henry Golding is great. I don't often point out voice actors specifically for some of these animated things, but I thought he was so good that we had to do it. So he's my number 2. Minta. Masago reminded me a lot of an Amazonian warrior, only scarier. Yes, and that emoji you put is perfect. Yes, she was definitely scary and very effective. Very effective as a villain. Anthony, the artists who put together this episode deserve all the praise. I could literally print off any frame and hang it on my wall. Particularly the landscape images of the group's journey to the palace are absolutely picturesque and spectacular. Exactly, that was my number 3, the water sequence itself specifically. Terry, sometimes it's not who is the more powerful between the Jedi and the Sith, who can carry out the plan better. The Shogun played on the Jedi's emotions as his moves became predictable. And also, he ventured off from who he was supposed to be. Maybe. Mary's number 2, the strong visuals, the animation, just breathtaking once again. Definitely, Mary. I think, as was just mentioned a little bit ago by Anthony, yeah, it's very gorgeous, the design for sure. Number 2 for Blake, the guide. If you look into what George based R2 and 3PO on, it was a duo in an old Kurosawa film. I can't remember which one, but this is all Japanese cinema inspired to a degree. Very much so. Jason's number 2, the insane, terrifying look of Masago also she didn't need to rely on combat to win the battle. With Tsubaki, yeah, she played dirty. Oh, it was brutal. In fact, when it happened, Mason and I looked at each other like, what? This is not, look, for me, again, this is just for me, like Star Wars, we're not used to Star Wars doing that to that degree. I mean, yes, there's definitely tragedy and trauma, but it builds up to it. This is only 13 minutes, and bang, boom, bad stuff happens. So, again, that's not bad. That's pretty cool storytelling. It's very effective, but it's definitely not my particular cup of tea. Let's see. What did I just do? Oh, Daniel. Number 2, the B-Wing was so good to see such a distinctive ship and one of my favorites. Oh, cool, Daniel. I'm glad. Ross is number 2. The travel montage, use of wide shots on different terrain. It was only a 15-minute episode, but the storytelling and animation truly made it a quest or journey. Yes, it did. Traveling is important. I wish they would have focused more on that, but it definitely was effective. So let's go ahead and jump into number 1. Number 1 for me from Akakiri is free will versus destiny. Look, this is a theme that's very important in a lot of stories, but often they're understated. This was pretty much in your face about it. Very similar to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone when Harry gets placed into Gryffindor. But this whole thing is about Tsubaki saying, it's not my destiny to die. It's not my destiny for something bad to happen. I'm in control. I'm in control. And he is so worried about it being his destiny that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because he gives into anger. When he gives into anger, he strikes down Princess Misa. And in order to save her, he has to turn to the dark side. Hello, paging episode 3. That's exactly the same concept, right? It's the exact same concept. And it's effective. And it rips your heart out and it makes you very sad. But and I hope we get to see more of Tsubaki and that he's able to choose eventually. Because we all have choice. Is there a plan for us? I think there's a plan for us. It's a very complicated philosophical thing. That's soft determinism, what we're really labeling here. If you want to learn more about it, then please enroll in my British literature class, and we'll talk all about it. And also on a future episode of Coffee with Kenobi. But free will versus destiny is an interesting, fascinating theme. And Tsubaki makes the destiny come to life because of a self-fulfilling prophecy of being afraid of what might happen. He keeps getting these terrible headaches throughout the whole thing. And that's him fighting these violent images that eventually happen because he is so mad at Masago that he strikes down Misa, again has to turn to the dark side to save her. I hope that we get to revisit these two, or these characters. But yes, very powerful. Very, very powerful indeed. All right. Let's see what other people have. Number 1 for Mita. Nothing is predetermined. Well, in Tsubaki's case, that was false. Exactly. Number 1 for Terry. The sudden empty ending made me feel as if I was watching Revenge of the Sith. Very much. We know there was more to the story leading into A New Hope, and this makes me feel there will be a season 2 of Visions for resolution. I hope so. Sometimes you don't get a resolution. I hope we do, because I think it would be nice. Anthony's number 1. For myself, the best part of this episode is the ending. That cliffhanger leaves so much to explore in terms of the consequences for Tsubaki's actions. How it changed him as a person as well as his relationship with Princess Misa. I hope that this story continues in season 2. I hope so as well. Number 1 for Blake. There was no redemption. I don't think if there was a Vision season 2 that this will be an episode that gets a sequel. I love seeing a Jedi fall, and that was it for him. Not everyone in the universe can be saved, and it was refreshing to see that. Blake, that's an interesting take, and I don't have a problem with that. I think there's some validity in that. Unfortunately, in life, sometimes those things happen. We like to think, that's why I like Hope. That's why we like Star Wars. So you'd like to think that something good can come out of it. I guess we will see. But yes, if it ends just like that, it's very brave. Very brave storytelling. Mary's number 1 is pulling the lightsaber from Tsubaki's sheath. That was super cool. Reminded me of the Ronin as well. Daniel, the music score was unique and very effective in each phase of the story. Yes, love the music. Jason's number 1, the colors, the richness and depth in their effect on the mood of the story, especially the use of red at the end. Number 1 for Ross, the Sith won the moment, but it only sets up an opportunity for the Jedi to overcome in the future. Hope. Yes, I like your hope, Ross. I don't think there's any hope conveyed in this episode. In fact, with the red that you pointed out earlier in the sky and then him rising away, putting his hood over his head, and to me is in an act of shame to hide himself because he feels hidden from who he is. He doesn't want to believe he's actually turned evil. We'll see. We'll see. As it stands now, it sure looks like that is the case. So, all right. Very nice, everybody. That was actually really, really productive and constructive for me because you really helped me break down this episode. And again, while it's definitely not my favorite, I can certainly appreciate a lot of the aspects of it. So, bravo. Next week, we kind of hit around to this. I should have done something Christmassy, but we'll just do something Christmassy for the other half of the show because this will be the last Monday next week before Christmas itself. I almost broke into song. Why Christmas? We're going to do top 5 Boba Fett moments. We're going to get ready for the book of Boba Fett. So we're definitely going to look at our top 5 Boba Fett moments. And anything is good. Anything Boba Fett would be fine. Blake says, we all better go crazy next week with my boy Boba Fett. I think we will, Blake. I think we will. Okay. We're going to do some trivia now. We're going to jump into Star Wars trivia. I want to show you all something first. All right, so as I alluded to earlier, we're giving away some prizes. Let me show you some of the prizes we're giving away. We have, this is Peter Mayhew, of course, the lovely Peter Mayhew. We've got some coins. We have got some coins that we're going to be giving away. Here is the last image of one right there. The Chewbacca one. These all are really special to me, and it's special to a lot of us who are fans of Star Wars. So let me give you a little bit of background on this. We have, let's see, let me count these here. We have 3 that we're going to give away. I think that's right. No, we have 4 that we're going to give away. Yeah, we've got 3 gold and we've got 1 silver. The story behind these, this is the Peter Mayhew Foundation. They produce a coin each year to help fund their foundation. And a very dear friend of the show has reached out to me, and this individual said that they wanted to donate them to our Coffee with Kenobi family, which is wonderful. I mean, that's right. That's what Christmas is all about, and the charity that the Peter Mayhew Foundation does. But this is a way to give back. So the person who donated these, you know who you are. If you are listening, we're very grateful for that. And we're going to give away some prizes and play some Star Wars trivia. So how this is going to work, we're going to do our Star Wars trivia like we normally do. Okay? But what's going to happen is everybody who plays, I'm going to put your name. And it looks like we've got a couple of you here. Somebody just dropped off. So we've got a couple of people here right now. And we are going to draw right now for you. And I'm just going to put your names in appropriately. My Boba Fett helmet. And later in the show, after we play trivia, Mason's going to come down and he's going to draw some names for us. Okay? So we are going to, again, and we're going to give away 4. We're going to give away 4. So help me remember that. When it comes to numbers, I have like the worst memory when it comes to numbers. It's amazing. I can remember my phone number, but I can't. All right. First question. Remember, just by you playing and answering, you automatically could win one of these 4 Peter Mayhew collector coins. All right. First question. I feel like I've asked this before. I don't know. How many horns protrude from the head of the average Gamorrean guard? Or is it Gamorrean guard? I always say Gamorrean guard. That's what I always say, but maybe it's Gamorrean. How many horns protrude from the head of the average Gamorrean guard? From the average Gamorrean guard. So we've seen a lot of Gamorrean guards in Star Wars and Return of the Jedi and The Mandalorian. But how many do we have? So there's Ross. Ross, I'm writing your name down on this piece of paper. Your name is going into the hat, my friend. Minta, putting your name in. Minta says 2. Ross and Minta say 2. Terry says 2. Terry, I've got your name in there as well. Colby is here. Colby, what's up, man? Colby, I'm putting your name in the hat. Colby says 2. Anthony says 2. Okay, here we go. Blake says 2. Mary says 2. Daniel says 2. Jason says 2. And Mason says 2 or 3. Mason, you got to pick, buddy. 2 or 3. It looks like the general consensus is 2 so far. So let's see there. There's Mary's name. Blake, did I say I put your name in? I can't remember if I did. If I didn't say your name out loud, I didn't write it. So remind me, Blake. Got Daniel in there. Jason. Okay. Okay, so Mason says 2 as well. All right. So Blake, again, remind me if did I say your name before I wrote it down? I think I did put your name in there. But if I didn't, say, oh, Blake, I'm putting your name in the hat or in the Boba Fett helmet. Let me know and I'll be sure to add it now. So the answer to this is 2, of course. It is 2 horns for the rain guards. Blake says he stepped away to get a cider, so he didn't hear a cider. Did anybody hear me say I was putting Blake's name in there? Let me know. Let's see. Who retreats from battle in a vehicle consisting of a large spinning wheel with 4 articulated legs? Oh, Mason says I did. Okay, good. Who retreats from battle in a vehicle consisting of a large spinning wheel with 4 articulated legs? Well, that's easy. I think I need to get some new cards. These are just way too easy. In fact, I think I've asked all of these. General Grievous is the answer. Very good. Okay, while you're answering this, I'm actually going to grab some more trivia cards because I feel like I've used all of these before. But it seems like everybody is saying General Grievous. I think that is pretty good. Okay, everyone says Grievous. Anthony says Grievous. Jason says Grievous. Minta says Grievous. Ross, Terry, Mary, Blake, basically everybody says Grievous. Of course the answer is Grievous. So good job. Applause to all of you. I'm going to grab some more. Talk amongst yourself. All right, I found a whole bunch more that I forgot I had. That's the challenge of having so much Star Wars stuff is probably all of you can attest, you kind of forget things after a while. Okay, next one. Those seem really small. Okay. Daniel says he just watched it last night. Cool. Hey, Paul, what's up, man? Paul answered some questions, and you can be entered in the trivia. So, guys, Boba Fett awesome, right? Yes, Boba Fett is awesome, Blake. We are big fans. Okay, what position had Luke Skywalker's father held aboard a spice freighter during the Clone Wars, according to Uncle Owen? What position had Luke Skywalker's father held aboard a spice freighter during the Clone Wars, according to Uncle Owen? Again, what position had Luke Skywalker's father held aboard a spice freighter during the Clone Wars, according to Uncle Owen? Blake, Terry, and Kiss say navigator. Colby says pilot. Jason says navigator. Paul, I'm putting your name in here in the list. Mary says navigator. Ross says navigator. Mita says navigator. Who else? Daniel says commander. Interesting. Well, so we've got 3 options. We've got navigator, we've got pilot, we've got commander. Mason says navigator too. So my wife's position when we travel. There you go. The answer is a navigator. He says my father was a navigator aboard a spice freighter. That wasn't exactly true. Okay, let's see the next question. Next question is, who determines that the Hoth probe droid's transmissions were probably an Imperial code? Who determines that the Hoth probe droid's transmissions were probably an Imperial code? Any ideas, anybody? Again, who determines that the Hoth probe droid's transmissions were probably an Imperial code? Ross says it must be C-3PO. Okay, Ross, good guess. Anybody else? Anybody else want to weigh in on this? Who determined that the Hoth probe droid's transmissions were probably an Imperial code? Minta says 3PO, as is Mary, as is Blake. Terry says General something something. Daniel says Solo. Jason says General Riken. Mason says Han, Luke, or Leia. Paul says C-3PO. We've got some great guesses, and they're all in the scene, and they all weigh in on this scene. So again, I'll ask you one more time, then give you the answer. Who determines that the Hoth probe droid's transmissions were probably an Imperial code? Which one, Mace? You guess, buddy. Anthony also says General Riken. General Riken was there. 3PO was there. Han was there. Was Luke there? Was Leia there? Colby's guessing Han. Well, the winner of this one is anyone who said C-3PO. C3PO. C3PO even holds up his hand and says, it must be an Imperial code, right? Or it could be an Imperial code. Yeah, then it's a good bet the Empire knows we're here. And General Regan says, let's start the evacuation. Then we hear the Imperial March. Dun, you know how that goes. Okay. What currency is rarely accepted by merchants on Tatooine? There are actually two answers to this. What currency is rarely accepted by merchants on Tatooine? Ooh, I like this question. What currency is rarely accepted by merchants on Tatooine? Colby says, from here on out, I'm going to go with whatever Ross, Mary, and Minta say. Then Snowtroopers, that's right. Minta says Republic credits, as does Jason, as does Terry. I'll just say right now, it is Republic credits, but there's another name given here. Paul says Imperial credits. It wouldn't be that because that's before the Empire, actually. Let's see. Republic credits. Anthony says Republic credits are no good here. Mason says dollar bills and cents. Interesting. Mason is very sarcastic like his father and mother. But I wonder where he got that from. Well, I think I already gave you the answer to that. He's just naturally a witty fellow. Mary says Republic credits as well. Ross says Republic ducats. Nice. Daniel says credits. Again, the question is, what currency is rarely accepted by merchants on Tatooine? Republic credits or Dataries? 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 They say it so quickly in the movie. I think they say Dataries, but Dataries. That is the other answer right there. All right. Let's go on to the next batch of questions. Probably ask one or two more, and then we're going to do some drawing. That one's too easy. Who tells Padme Amidala that the Chancellor is a Sith Lord? Who tells Padme Amidala that the Chancellor is a Sith Lord? Any ideas? Who tells Padme Amidala that the Chancellor is a Sith Lord? Anthony says Obi-Wan Kenobi. Colby says Obi-Wan. Blake says Kenobi 1. Mason says Anakin. Terry says Obi-Wan. Ross says Obi-Wan. Blake says Obi-Wan. Minta says Obi-Wan. Anakin, jump. That's good. That's Qui-Gon Jinn for you. Hello there. Dude, I should have that as one of my recorded sounds. Jason says Obi-Wan. Paul says Obi-Wan. The answer to who tells Padme Amidala that the Chancellor is a Sith Lord? The answer is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and she can't believe it. Ross says Mason is confident. Yes, he is. And I think he might have been thinking of another part. I'm not sure. I initially was going to say Anakin too. But then seeing all the Obi-Wans, and it's just remembered. Mary says Mason's on a roll tonight. Yes, Mason is pretty silly. Pretty good. I love it. I love the humor. I'm biased though. I'm his dad. Okay. Ooh, here's a good one. Well, I don't know. That was too easy. I feel like you all are so smart and you know your Star Wars so well that I don't want to give you an easy one. You know? Who is dispatched? Wow. Do I really want to ask this one? How about this? To what do the rebels on Hoth reroute all power once they detect Darth Vader's fleet? This is the last question of the night. To what do the rebels on Hoth reroute all power once they detect Darth Vader's fleet? Any ideas? To what do the rebels on Hoth reroute all power once they detect Darth Vader's fleet? Go ahead and weigh in with your guesses. Terry says shield generator. Ross says main generator. Blake says deflector shield. Daniel says main deflector dish. We've got all different answers. This is great. Paul says shields. Jason says shield generator. So 2 people for shield generator, but we've got a number of answers. Minta says a shield generator. I'll read the question again. Colby says shield generator. Anthony says shield generator. To what do the rebels on Hoth reroute all power once they detect Darth Vader's fleet? Mason says, our house, we can say hi to me and you. Well, that's true. Boy, we're canon, I guess. Mary says deflector shields. So the question is, to what do the rebels on Hoth reroute all power once they detect Darth Vader's fleet? The answer is... To what do the rebels on Hoth reroute all power once they detect Darth Vader's fleet? The answer is energy shield. Energy shield. Anthony has just weighed in. You may have typed that already, so I didn't see that, but the answer is energy shield. So really, Anthony came through there at the very, very end, but nobody got that one until Anthony weighed in at the end. So yes, energy shield is the answer. All right, Mason, come on into the CWK studio, and it's time to draw some winners. We've got 4 coins to award to people. So let's see what happens when Mason pulls them out of the helmet. I can hear him running downstairs now. Well, that was fast. He must have said punch it, Chewy. So I've got all the names in here, right? We're going to mix them up, and we're going to pull out 4 winners after Mason draws these. By the way, this is Mason's. Check out Mason's pajamas. Christmas, Grogu, what's better than that? By the way, thanks for being here, buddy.
You're welcome.
Well done on the sillies. All right, pull out 4 names, buddy. Blake says hi, Mason.
This one I feel like is Ross.
We'll see. First we have...
Ross.
Really?
Yes.
Ross, you're one of the winners. Nice job. Got your name right there. Oh, trust me. It's Ross. Everyone loves your shirt. Yeah, I posted that on our...
Next up is Minta.
Minta, you are one of the other winners. So we've got Ross and Minta so far. Ross says, good pull, Mason. Next,
Daniel.
Daniel, you are one of the other winners. Congratulations, Daniel. And Daniel says hi to you. And the last winner. Jason, congratulations, Jason. All right, thank you so much, Mason.
Yes.
All right. Well, there you go. We'll do these more regularly, but we've got Jason, Daniel, Ross, and Minta. Go ahead, and if you would, go ahead and PM me your addresses on Facebook to the Coffee with Kenobi Facebook account. So just hop on Messenger and send a message to Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook account on Messenger and send me your addresses, and I will be sure to get those out to you as soon as possible. Thank you again to our anonymous donor this person chose to be anonymous for sending these over to me. As soon as I get them, I will send them out to all of you. Congratulations to everybody. Yes, let's go ahead and go into Ask Dan Z. Yes, congratulations, everybody. Yeah, Paul, if you and I would just hand it to you, because I see you about once a week or so at church. Mason is fast. Are you the Flash? What's the deal? What is the deal, man? All right, let's get rid of some of these. I'll keep these here. All right, very good. So this is your chance to ask Danzy. Yes, Jason says, thanks for a generous donor. Yes, thank you so much. That was very cool. Ross says, thanks, Dan and Mason. Have a great week and good luck getting your shopping done on time. Yeah, right. It's December 13th, right? We're getting so close to the big day. Santa Claus is finishing things up and getting things ready. We've had the elf on the shelf visiting our home. We've had a lot of fun here. Mrs. Zare always makes Christmas so special around here. Daniel, you bet. Congratulations again to all of you, because I love the Star Wars community. You know, we are a lot of fun. We celebrate Star Wars together, and I'm biased, but I think you all are the best. I think you're the best Star Wars fans around, and because I appreciate all of you. And I hope that you know that, and I hope that you will spread the word so we can bring more and more people into this amazing community, because I think it just makes things even better. Andy says, what's the best Star Wars related gift you've ever received during the holiday season? Wow. Well, getting the Millennium Falcon as a kid, the Kenner Millennium Falcon was pretty great. Deanna's given me some cool Star Wars stuff over the years. I'm kind of hard to buy for when it comes to Star Wars a lot. I mean, a lot of us are, for sure. But I think the Millennium Falcon, that was pretty great. Blake says, I'm sure this will be discussed on CWK, but do you think it's a good thing Fett to be made to an actual character over being a brutal bounty hunter? It's very good. As a brutal bounty hunter, he's just boring, I think. I mean, we've got those kind of anti-heroes, or he wasn't even an anti-hero until The Mandalorian Season 2. He was just a villain. He was just a nameless villain. Boba Fett was his name, but he didn't really have much of an identity or personality. And now he does. So I think this is a great thing. It brings him more interesting. I'm way more interested in Boba Fett than I ever have been because of Tamira Morrison's actual present performance. Have I read Crimson Reign yet? I have not, Ross. I am very behind on comics, but I hear great things, and I'm sure you have read them too. What are my thoughts on new Star Wars Eclipse game? I think it's so cool looking. Some of the clips looks like Drax is playing from Guardians of the Galaxy, is playing the drums, but it's really sharp. I don't know much about it, but it's set during the High Republic, which is getting more and more steam in the world of Star Wars, so I think it's awesome. Mason says, you're welcome, Ross. I know you just said that because you won. Jason, what is one of your favorite Star Wars quotes to use in real life? I really like feel, don't think, use your instincts. I also like failure, the greatest teacher that is. In fact, every year at Christmas time, I have students make ornaments. I give them extra credit, and one of my students did basically a quote wall, and one of the quotes she put was failure, the greatest teacher that is, and she didn't even know that was one of my favorite quotes, so I really liked that one a lot. Paul says, Jonah had a great time at Disney last week. They spent most of the day in the Star Wars area. He brought home some cool stuff. I bet he did. Yeah, Galaxy's Edge is wonderful. Not really a question, but how 3 o'clock early are you going to wake up on the 29th to watch the Book of Boba Fett? Yeah, it'll be early. I mean, we're excited to see it for sure. Yeah, it's going to be early because I don't want it to be spoiled. I'm sure you're the same way, and we won't spoil it here for sure. On Coffee with Kenobi, we'll do spoiler-free reviews like we did for the Bad Batch. Is that area supposed to be Tatooine? No, that area is called Batu, B-A-T-U-U. It is a new area, a new planet in the world of Star Wars, created for Galaxy's Edge. It's in some of the literature, the comics, and the novels. It has not shown up live action yet, but I hope it does someday. When's Dan coming down to my neighborhood of Central Florida again? Well, hopefully, I don't know. I mean, hopefully sometime next year. I would sure love to, Blake. And if I do, I will certainly let everybody know when that happens. Colby, since your pour over number one referenced peppermint and white chocolate, there is a peppermint white hot chocolate drink at Starbucks. Oh, I know, Colby. But I will say, the Starbucks peppermint, it just tastes a little more medicine-y to me. I don't know. I honestly, the peppermint mocha at McDonald's is insane. I love that one. So good. So good. Well, hey, great questions, everybody. What a great show tonight. We went a little bit longer than we have been, and I'm glad because we've got the conversation rolling. Again, it's because of each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining me on CWK Live every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, if you want to become a member of the CWK Alliance, you get access to CWK Pro over this week. One of the funniest podcasts, the hardest I've ever laughed recording a podcast, to the top 5 Christmas cookies. Is it related to Star Wars? No. But if you like to laugh and have fun and hang out with your friends, that is one option for you. Again, next week, we'll be giving our top 5 favorite Boba Fett moments. Blake and everybody will be so excited because we're a lot of big Boba Fett fans here. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to chatting with all of you about it. Have a great week, everybody, and thank you again to our anonymous donor for sharing these 4 Peter Mayhew coins. Again, send me on Facebook Messenger on Coffee with Kenobi your address, and I'll be sure to get those out to you ASAP. Blake says, good night, CWK fam, and you, Dan. I always say you're the best Star Wars family anyone can have. But you know what? I agree. This is the best Star Wars community. I'm very happy to be in it with all of you. Have a great week, Colby, Daniel. Nice to see you. Jason, Terry, Minta, Anthony, Colby, Paul, Terry. Hope I didn't forget anybody. Mary. So thank you all so much for being here. Have a great week and weekend. And remember, this is the podcast you're looking for. See you next time.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.